our panelist here who's going to give us a lot more information on the program. This is Dr. Patrick O'Brien. Dr. O'Brien has an extensive project management and leadership background with over 25 years of consulting experience. He has worked on projects from a $460 million convention center to building and renovating Hilton hotels on the east coast of Florida to a federal Department of Energy grant program researching renewable energy. The green energy is huge. I love that, Dr. O'Brien. I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you.
All right, thanks, Teddy. Good afternoon to everybody. I am one of the instructors with the program, and I've been teaching online since 2006 in project management. I've been working with the University of Miami for the last couple of years, and I do still work actively in project management. I manage a team of 10 project managers for an electric utility up here in Western Pennsylvania. But I'm here to talk about the program itself. And the University of Miami Project Management Certificate Program it's a virtual, it's online, and what we are working to do is help you work through getting up to speed on the various components from the Project Management Book of Knowledge, how PMI looks at executing projects. And we have a lot of tools that you'll work through to get to the completion of the certificate program. And those are based in our virtual project management zone. So when you enroll in the program, we have a lot of different components to our website. We have things from case studies to practice quizzes, and we have various materials that will help you, like I said, understand how to apply PMI's processes. And so the course is broken into 7 sections. And if you've worked in project management, or if you've looked through the Project Management Book of Knowledge, you know that they have a series of very structured sets of processes, starting with fundamentals of project management through the initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, closing processes. So what our certificate program does is we work with you to take an actual project. You're going to develop an actual project and see how do each of these parts of the Project Management Book of Knowledge sections, fundamentally, how are they related to a project, that either a theoretical project. In my experience, most students take a project they've already executed, they've already worked on, and see how it maps. And what that does is it brings to life some of the dry things you see when you open up the PMBOK and you page through it. You see diagrams and say, there's inputs and there are outputs, and how do I do this part, or how is that part related to? This certificate program takes a project, brings it to life, and we walk you through all the different processes, pieces, and steps. And as a consequence, it becomes a really good learning tool for you. And we're not just going to have you walk through a project, we're going to assess your ability to apply the concepts in the Project Management Book of Knowledge. And so the way the program is set up, you come into a virtual project management zone, and we have a number of different areas of how you're going to engage with the course and with the course materials. You're going to have a series of assigned readings, and they have presentations that go with them. You're going to have a copy of a textbook. You're going to have a copy of the Project Management Book of Knowledge. Different people learn different ways. And so we have some annotations for you. We have PowerPoint presentations. We have ways for you to try to take sometimes what could be relatively dry material in the PMBOK with a textbook. The textbook we use is also project-based. It has a lot of case studies in it and how to apply different principles and pieces and parts. But this is one of the components of our website, is for you to go in here and see different ways to bring the readings to life. And how we're going to assess you over the course of the 12-week program is there are 2 components. There's assignments. There's 7 sections of the class. There's some sections have 2 or 3 components of the assignments, and we have exams. And the exams are multiple choice. Most of them are 25 question exams. You have 60 minutes, they're timed. I think a couple of them are 50 questions, but we have assignments and tests, 2 different components. And you have to average 70% on all the assignments, 70% on all the tests to be successful in demonstrating your competency with project management. So this is another component of the website where you can go in and look at, here, what are my assignments? What do I have to do for that assignment? And then know what the timeframes are. When you start the program, I will send you, or one of the instructors will send you an email that outlines, Here are your due dates throughout the 12-week process. So if you would start on September 1st and you'd say, boy, I'm going to the Miami Dolphins Tampa Bay game on the third, weekend in October. Hope I don't have an assignment due. You'll know that stuff up front. You'll be able to coordinate your personal schedule with the assignment schedules, and all the information, again, it's going to be based here in our website. So your assignments, as I mentioned before, they are project specific, project based. Your instructor, like myself, I will work with you when you first start the program to talk about what is the assignment you're going to do for a project. What is the project going to be? I have a student right now whose project is building a multi-story set of luxury condos. That's the business he works in. I have another student that works in importing and exporting, and his project is importing a large number of materials, getting them distributed to warehouses, and then tracking how they're going to be sold, when they're going to be sold, and having a system to determine whether or not they have they're bringing in perishable materials. How are they tracking whether they're selling them on time or not? So the project is going to be specific to whatever you determine, but it's going to be relative to what you're working in. And what we're going to do through each of the 7 sections of the class, starting off with the project scope and description. Who are the stakeholders involved in the project? What are your deliverables? What is your schedule? What is your estimated cost? We're going to work through all those different components, and we have templates. I'm not going to ask you to create a risk register without giving you a template document and some assignment information and some examples of what does a risk register look like. You may or may not work with risk registers in your day job, but if your intent is to become a project management certified professional, or just be able to be better at implementing PMI standards, these are components that we'll have in every project. So we have templates that walk you through the assignments. So but they will be practically based on a project that you and I will work with in terms of developing, and as we work through the course. The other thing that we'll do as you work through your assignments and your exams, your instructor will meet with you at least once a month, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, to say, how are you doing, virtually, like this type of session. I like to do it where we can see each other, but it could be a phone call if you prefer, just to make sure that you're staying on path, that you're balancing the work, that you don't get too far behind. The goal is to complete in 12 weeks. That's the timeline we outline. Sometimes life intervenes and folks get a little bit behind. Part of what I'm there to do is I'm not going to wait for you to get 3 weeks behind before I'm going to send you an email or send you a notice. But that's what we want to try to do at the University of Miami. We don't want you to sign up and not succeed. So we have template documents for the assignments. We have a lot of other tools. I'll show you some other tools that we have. We also have instructors who are going to reach out to you on a recurring basis to see, how are you doing? Do you have any problems? Have any issues? And before you turn an assignment in, there are some students I've worked with where they're not sure about an assignment. I said, shoot me an email. We can get on the phone, or I can take a look at a draft of what you got to tell you if you're heading in the right direction or not. But that's what we want to try to do. Even though it's an online course, we try to be there for you and shepherd you all the way through it. As I mentioned, the project you're going to do is application based. You might have been sitting in a meeting at work where somebody talked about, are we going to do a RACI chart for this project? What is that? You're going to do a RACI chart. You're going to do a WBS breakdown. But we're going to give you samples and examples of that in advance, both in the assignment templates, and we have other information, not just in some of the folders that describe the assignments. And this is the assignments and the tests. I'll get back to where we have some other supplemental materials for you. But your exams, they are timed exams. They are multiple choice. I'll tell you this, they're not easy. The intent of these tests is to help you get better at test taking methodologies. If your intent is to take the PMP exam, these questions are similar to what you're going to see on the PMP exam. Normally not normally, most of them are 4 questions. 2 of them you can usually rule out pretty quickly. The hard part is which one of the other 2 is correct. And one of the things I had always advised students to do is you have the PMBOK open, you can search that as a PDF, have your book with you sitting there, and you think 25 questions, 60 minutes, how hard can it be? And I can see how long it takes a student. Students that do really well spend 45, 50, 55 minutes on the exams, but we have 7 exams. Same thing. You have to get 70% as an average across all of them. So you may get 63% on one, 82, 85 on the others, and you're going to be fine. But that's one of our methodologies for assessing your competencies. There's exams and the assignments. So this is what I'm referring to, that we have different ways as you move through the program to try to benchmark and provide you resources. So in the upper right, we have a series of 3 different case studies that are different types of projects that walk through the different sections of how you would be creating the assignments, what the components are for a project, and what kind of ways could you represent your project similar to these case studies. If you haven't had a lot of project management experience, these case studies are very helpful because they lay out processes and procedures as are defined from the folks at Project Management Institute, and that mirror what we ask you to do in putting your assignments together. We have study tools in the bottom left corner. This is all part of that. When you go to our website, the Project Management Hub has a place where you have practice quizzes. And I always recommend to students, do not take an exam until you've taken the practice quiz. You do the practice quiz and you get 50%, you're not ready. So we have a couple other things for knowledge checks. They're like fill in the blank type of questions. We have, the other thing we're going to have you do is create all the things that you prepare for assignments. We're going to have you put them in an e-portfolio that's going to be helpful when you're done with the certificate program, so that you can, as a reference material for yourself, but also as a resource if you go to an employer to say, here are some of the things I've worked on. We have tools for you in this component of the website that helps supplement the textbook and supplement the readings to make you have every opportunity to be successful as you move through the project. This is an example of some of the text that will give you components. If you can see what it says up there at the top, it has key takeaways from that sections of the readings. We have supplemental web resources we have links to. So what we want to do is take things that are just, some people are really good. They can read the textbook and they get the information right away. I know myself, I like to have another way to validate it and verify it and look at it, whether it's another outside resource or it's a PowerPoint. So we provide you different methodologies for you to assimilate the information before you go to apply it in your project. And as I mentioned, we have knowledge checks, we have practice quizzes, we have an index of key terms. One of the things that you'll find in project management and the Project Management Institute is there's a lot of lingo. There's a lot of things that we use. Some are acronyms, CPI, SPI, that you're going to see on a recurring basis. So we'll give you the key tools that you can take away from each set of readings, and those end up being really helpful. It's just like in the Project Management Book of Knowledge. One of the things I also emphasize to students that's helpful for this certificate program, but also in the long run, is the charts and graphs in the PMBOK. Those are very helpful. And just like this, we'll identify key terms for you, and we have practice tests for you for each of the sections before you go in and actually try to do the exam. Okay. So I mentioned one of the other things we have is they're not quizzes themselves, but they are methodologies to help reinforce key components, complete the statement. So when you go into the study tools area, it emphasizes here are things that you're going to see repetitively, either in an exam, or it's going to help facilitate your ability, to execute a project. Because we're not just working here at the University of Miami to get you a certificate to be able to create a project and then map a project. It's also improve your project management skills. You may work in one component of project management and your aspiration is to be a manager or to be a senior manager, general manager. One of the things we want to do is expose you to the tools and how to apply those tools in project management. So that's what some of these things will help you do, is some of these study tools is, how do you apply the theoretical information both in your project or at your work. As I mentioned before, we have case studies, 3 different case studies that have really good background, really good depth of information, for both executing projects, but also showing different perspectives on how folks do projects. You may work in public sector where they have a really well-developed project management methodology. Many states, as they execute capital projects, do that, state government, county government, local government, or you may work in a private industry that has been successful, a private business, almost despite themselves. applying project management methodology can make them more successful, can make you more successful. And here are some examples of different types of industries. So we give that to you as a reference, both for the program and for outside of the program. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about today is what does it mean to get a certificate in project management? Project management is a skill that can be applied across a whole range of industries. But one of the things we want to make sure of when you leave the University of Miami is that you have an opportunity to improve your professional position. And so we have resources that can help you. If you haven't been to an interview in a long time, or you haven't written an update to your resume, I'm hiring staff at my job on a recurring basis, and I see resumes from folks that were written 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and it doesn't cast a positive reflection upon you. So we have tools at the university to help you if you're trying to update your resume. If you haven't been to an interview in a long time, are you nervous? Sure, you're going to be nervous. That's natural. We have skills that we can help you with, and so we have resources to supplement you, not just through the project management certificate program, but also to help you in terms of advancing yourself professionally. So one of the other things we want to try to be able to do is part of the interviews. Sometimes they'll say, "Okay, I understand you work in the profession. What can you give me as a leave behind, or what can you tell me about projects you worked on?" What we do as we complete all the assignments is you're going to do a project charter, you're going to do a risk register, you're going to have a well-defined scope statement, a RACI chart, a WBS. Those documents we're going to have you put in a portfolio at the end of the project, so that if you get a question from an employer, if you can have it with you or you can have it as a leave behind, you'll have those documents that you can specifically reference to show in a professional format, and it's uniform, that you do in fact know how to do this, and you have done some of these skills and tasks. Even if there's something that you may not have done as part of your day job, you have references to these components that are integral to your ability to demonstrate your skills in project management. So what are our program outcomes? Obviously we want you to understand the knowledge areas and the process groups, but we want you to be able to implement them. We want to teach you practical application, apply these skills, successfully manage projects, and then be able to also understand the professional standards of conduct associated with PMI. Those ethics components that seem like common sense, but obviously they're there for a reason. So we want you to be able to master the skills, demonstrate the skills, apply the skills, and that's going to put you in a great position when you go to take the PMP exam. So what's the career outlook like for project management? Project management 30 some years ago was relegated to military applications, construction applications. Project management today is a field with doors open all different types of professions. By 2027, employers are going to need almost 100 million people working in project management. Skills and of project management, they work for you across different industries. What's to be surprising, you may or may not be surprised, is the financial industries have really taken up project management. Probably about 15 to 20 years ago, the folks in the banking industries noticed that their projects and what kind of projects do banks do. Banks, if they're not capital projects, they roll out new pieces of software. IT industry has always been fraught with challenges and problems in executing their projects. So there's a lot of industries that are transitioning to adding a layer of project management to help them execute their work. Can you make money as a project manager? Yes, you can. Wages in this field continue to increase. The ability to demonstrate your skill set. It's not just that I manage projects. Having a certificate from an institution like University of Miami is a further attestation of your demonstrated skills, both academically, but also in the fact that this is a practical application project. But it can, in fact, definitely be rewarding from a career perspective, because project management it can potentially get you out of being pigeonholed into a specific task. So what else happens in project management? I mentioned a number of sectors that have adopted it. Healthcare is another sector. You start to see hospitals and hospital groups. It used to be there was a hospital here and there. Now there are hospital systems that have 15 or 20 different hospitals. They are using project management groups to try to increase their efficiency in delivering their services. So project management has a host of applications. Again, manufacturing and construction is always going to be a staple, but information systems, utilities. I work for a utility now. I'm in charge of a project management group. One of the things that our utility has recognized is our ability to efficiently spend the dollars we're taking in from our customers is it's always a reflection back to a public utility commission. So there's a wide range of opportunities in project management. If you're happy with what you're doing now, but you want to move up, at project management. If you want to look for other opportunities in your organization or even in a different organization, project management skills translate into a wide range of sectors. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of employers that continue to look for qualified individuals. The certificate program is adding a distinctive level to you, separate you from the crowd. Like I said, when I advertise for new staff, I probably get, in the first week, I'll get 45, 50 resumes. And obviously, most managers, hiring managers, I'm going into the yes and the no category. The no category is pretty easy. The first 40 out of the 50 are the easy ones. It's the other 10. And I'm looking for things like, what qualifications stand out to me? And this is one of the things that is a distinguishing feature for you. So what are we here to talk about today? We're talking about our program. We're asking you, do you want to make the commitment? Do you want to leverage your knowledge? Do you want to demonstrate to others and to yourself how to improve your skills? And with that, I'll turn it back over to Teddy. If you want to take it away, Teddy.
Thank you so much, Dr. O'Brien. And yes, I mean, there's a lot of key points that you talked about that were very important. Hopefully you all can see my screen. But Dr. O'Brien, and this is just an aside for everybody that's in the meeting. I have known Dr. O'Brien before I was, working with him. I was actually a student under Dr. O'Brien for this certificate program. I love this program, and a lot of the things that Dr. Bryan just said were very key and important, things that I didn't know until I took the course and I learned. So again, Dr. Bryan, thank you for sharing all that. I do want to go into the courses themselves. So we're going to go into Q&A in a minute, but I do want to explain the courses that we offer themselves. So for this fall term, we do have a few different options. So this is actually great for those of you that either learning about project management, are ready to take the exam, or are maybe looking to focus a little bit more into something else. And what I mean is, we have our traditional project management certificate program. That's our traditional course that runs September 20th to December 13th. That one is Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that is instructor led. So it is like a traditional class. The difference is that you are doing this remotely, live online, usually through Zoom or an online platform, and that is for the safety of everybody involved. So that is our traditional course. That's a comprehensive look at project management. Separate from that, we do have another option. Now, this is more for those of you that are ready for the exam itself, that maybe haven't brushed up on the skills needed to take the specific exam. We do have a project management professional exam prep course. So the prep course is essentially October 5th to November 18th, and it's 2 days a week, right? So it's Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And it's the same format where it's like a traditional class. The difference is that the class is live, but it is online. So you're doing it through Zoom or some sort of online platform, live each time during those times. And then for those of you, we have a third option. Those of you that are specific into the industry of either healthcare or IT, we do have courses that start on the first of each month for those specific concentrations. Those of you that maybe know already a bit about the project management, want to get more in-depth information on those specific fields, that's how you can do it. So we do have a lot of different options. But again, our bread and butter, the traditional course that is comprehensive from beginning to end, is the course that starts September 20th. And that course actually has two different options. Again, we try to be as flexible as possible. And what that means is we have that live course that you just saw that is instructor led. Separately, for those of you that have a busy schedule or just can't meet at specific times throughout the week, we do have a self-paced online course. Now, basically, and that was very simple in terms of the format. You have the content available, you keep up with the content. There are deadlines for your assignments, tests, quizzes, things like that. You must keep up with those deadlines, right? You have an instructor like I had Dr. O'Brien that's specifically for you. So if there's any issues, questions, or if you need some reviews, they're the ones to help you. But again, you have those deadlines. You're just keeping up with those deadlines. Very flexible schedule for those of you that need something like that. It is available. Those of you that learn better with an instructor-led course, of course, we still have that option as well. And then as far as tuition, so the again, a few different options as far as what we offer. To break it down, the comprehensive traditional course we offer is $29.95, $2,995. That's the live class with the instructor that's leading, again, through Zoom. The other option for that is the option where you're on your own. You have your self-paced asynchronous course. You have your instructor just for you if you need them, and that course is $34.95, so $3,495, right? And then if we're looking at the exam prep, those of you that are ready for the test just need to brush up on those skills. $24.95. That is again a live class through Zoom still. $24.95. And then those of you that are more looking into the concentrations, those of you that are interested in specifically healthcare project management, or like I said, IT project management, $14.95, $1,495. And I know that's a lot of stuff there. If you guys are writing it down, remember that you will get a recording of all this, but as well, you can check out our website, which is continue.miami.edu /PMP. You can check out more information there or give us a call, 305-284-4000. Again, we're going to go over more information. There's the Q&A coming up now, but I just want to make sure you guys have that. So as far as covering the cost, there's three main options typically, and some students have access to different options, but three traditional options, which is first one's paying full, simple and easy one-time payment on the website. You create your account, you add the course to your shopping cart, and you make your payment. Your seat is secured, you're good to go, right? It's all done on the website, very simple. The other option, and I always suggest this one, is the payment plan. That's here in-house. The payment plan basically splits up the costs into typically about 2 or 3 payments for you guys, and is a 25% deposit with equal monthly payments during the course. So it's one deposit, 25%, and then the remainder as monthly payments during the course. You guys get 2 monthly payments since the course is give or take about 12 weeks, right? The third option and the last option here is the student loan, and that would be a private educational loan, and that would be from like a bank or lender, right? These are not government loans. These are typically private educational loans. And aside from these, there's third-party lenders. There's, scholarships that people have gotten. There's employers that are willing to cover the cost. There's benefits that you may have available to you. There's a lot of options. But now at least you guys have seen the 3 traditional options: paying in full, payment plan, or getting yourself a third-party loan from a lender. So we'll go ahead and continue to the Q&A section. So again, those of you that do have questions, this is the perfect time to ask, specifically myself or Dr. O'Brien, either about the program or maybe about PMI or PMP. And that said, I'm going to go ahead and start firing off some questions here. Dr. O'Brien, I'm going to shoot these off to you. Well, actually,
Okay.
This one is from me. So let me take this first one, which is, are there any additional discounts for employees of the University of Miami? Yep, they just reach out to our staff, 305-284-4000. We can set you up with that. Okay, Dr. O'Brien, I have one here for you. Are the classes always live on Mondays and Wednesdays?
If you sign up for the instructor-led class, it is a Monday, Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. class. If that doesn't work for you, that's why we have the asynchronous class. It's self-paced. So if you can't, if you said I can't do a 2-hour lecture every Monday and every Wednesday, or if I know if you could do most of them, if you can do 7 out of 8, if you could only do 6 out of 8, I would not recommend it. But then that's the option where you can go to the self-paced. Now, I did have one student who started with the self-paced, and she found about a month in, she needed to have an instructor. So she said, I'm going to rearrange my work schedule so that I can definitely do that. So those are the 2 different programs. So if you want definitely, I want an instructor talking, through the materials twice a week. That's the way we have it structured now, is Mondays and Wednesdays.
Perfect. Yep. And I have another one here. So do I need to be a project manager to take the course?
You do not need to be a project manager to take the course. But what you do want to do is think about a project, before you start, is because that is the essence of the course, is working through a project. It doesn't have to be something you did at work. I built a summer home in Western New York, and I didn't do it. My wife, I told her, here's a chunk of money, please don't go over this number. And she did the whole thing herself. She worked with the architect. And so she learned a lot about project management, but it's again, you can be working for a company and you've seen other folks who have executed projects. As long as you have access to either information on a project or someone who has worked on a project, that you can talk to them, you have a resource. You do not have to be a project manager, but you do have to be able to have access some way, somehow, to walk through the different steps of what it takes to execute a project.
And then another question was, is this course manageable for those that are currently working?
Yeah, all of, I think almost, I did have one student who got laid off halfway through the class, but everybody else is, I mean, this is, it's time management. And honestly, I tell a lot of my students, in other universities where I teach, is that, your ability to manage your time is your biggest asset, and it's the biggest threat to your own success. If you're interested in project management, you're going to understand the material. You're going to want to be, you're interested in the material. You're taking this for a reason. It comes down to time management and making it a priority. I can tell you, I to finish up my PhD, this was a while ago, but it was still on. I finished in 2008. I would set aside 2 days a week where, I said, and I had younger children, but you have to be able to have that commitment and know you're going to have that commitment. Talk to your support group before you sign up for this. But yes, to be able to work and do this, you can do it if you go into it upfront with that mindset that I need to be able to devote 8 to 12 hours a week, some way, somehow in my schedule, whether it's, working through your lunch breaks 2 days a week, or whether it's, Sunday afternoons. That's what I'm doing for the next 12 weeks. It's a payoff. I mean, you gotta look at that cost benefit and say, am I willing to invest time in myself? And I think you'll find, if you do sign up for this program and you commit to it, when you're done, it's a short term. It's 12 weeks. My PhD took me 4.5 years. I learned a lot of things that I didn't want to learn, but at the end of the day, it comes back down to time management. Are you willing to commit to do it? Yeah, but yes, every one of my students, when they started the program, was working, and the one guy got laid off. He got a job at the end of it too. So yeah, you can definitely do this.
Okay, I love it. Love, good to hear. And I had an interesting question here. And again, just maybe a little subjective on my side. I did take the course, and I learned so much from the course, and really something I didn't consider. And Dr. Brian, you did cover this briefly earlier, and maybe expand on this. During the course, you take your quizzes and tests and whatnot, but you do have these homework assignments. And I feel that a very big part of project management is having a project, right? So can you speak a little bit more to how a student maybe picks their project for those assignments and how that works?
Sure. When a student first gets involved in the course, the first assignment isn't usually due like 7 to 10 days. And what I try to do is kind of reach out to them and say, what are you thinking about? And students have a tendency to do one of two things. They either have something that's way too broad. I had a student that wanted to start a import-export business from Peru. And so I helped her focus on what type of materials you're going to import, export. And I had another student who wanted to start, her project was going to be starting up a makeup company. And I said, okay, well, we have to focus this, on something, and to define what the project scope can be and what the outcomes can be. So that's what your instructor's there to do, is to help you have something that is a project, and then B is something that has enough scope that it will be able to round out all the different aspects of the assignments, but it's not something that's overwhelming. That you're not going to be able to get done. It's too much work. It's too many components. So that's what your instructor's there to do, is to help you find the right topic, get it narrowed and focused in the right, so it's the right amount of work for you. And it's a discussion. Like I said, I've worked with folks who've done IT projects, where it's, we're going to roll out a new piece of software. that's a project. So if that's what you do, or if that's what you've got somebody that that has done one of those projects, it's just making sure the scale and the scope of it does actually kind of fit the expectations and the outcomes we're going to need for all the different component points. And your instructor knows that up front of what all the assignments are. And like I've been working in project management, for over 20 years, and have been in teaching, like I said, since 2006. So I got a really good background, and most of our instructors do, on what does or doesn't kind of help fit, or what's going to be something that does translate well into completing these assignments.
Yeah, and again, just to highlight a little bit of that those resources, that support is huge. It's really important, and it's what helped me get through the course. For things that I didn't really understand, that support is what really pushes you through that, right? And I appreciate that we've offered that for all the students. And I do have another question here, Dr. O'Brien. So does and this is recent information, the PMI has made some changes recently. Is the project management program aligned with the new PMI changes?
Yes, yeah, we have updated the course to reflect the changes that PMI has issued. PMI had like a draft of the seventh edition of the PMBOK out there for all of last year, and only recently adopted it. So we've known that it's coming, and some of the components that they're incorporating, like Agile, is now part of the baseline of project management knowledge. But yeah, we've integrated and updated that into our courses.
That was a good question. I had one here about Agile, if Agile was included in this course. So you're saying it is?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Right, there's so many different types now, and it is part of the PMI, not just the traditional waterfall technique, but the Agile technique as well. So amazing, amazing. So I have another question here, and I'm actually going to answer this one because I have the answer on this one, and it asks, will a summer course be available for 2022, or is it just fall or spring semester? So again, to reiterate the courses that are available, we have our online self-paced course that's asynchronous. That course is basically available every month. So unless you want a live class, those sections are always available and you can always join. Now, the live classes where the instructor leads it, those are offered basically every major semester. So typically it's September, February. Sometimes we do offer it in June. We're not 100% sure for 2022. But at minimum, we have the online self-paced versions. The exam preps is going to be offered in every major semester as well. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Dr. O'Brien, is there anything else or any other questions that you typically get about PMI?
The questions that students ask are like, how close are our exam questions to PMI questions? I took the exam a while ago, and so, but I do know that the exam questions that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, they are challenging, and they are mirrored like PMI exam questions. So that is one of the things, one of the goals of our certificate program. It's not there's a separate program specific for exam prep, but in the baseline project management class, the test questions, they're not gimmies. The idea is we really want to evaluate, do you or don't you comprehend the material and the ability to apply the material. So that's a question I get on a recurring basis. And then, how do I prepare for, if I get the certificate, am I good then to go to take the PMP exam? I would still, it depends on how good you are taking exams. Some folks, an employee who worked for me who spent 4 weeks just memorizing the PMBOK, he had photographic memory, he took it and he passed. I had another employee who spent 6 months studying, and I sent him to an exam prep course. That's how he was able to pass. So typically, having the ability to apply project management skills is step one. Step two is I would recommend a project management exam specific prep class, and then you're good to go.
Right, right. And that's why we have so many options available, Dr. O'Brien. That's why the university understands that need. So we do have that comprehensive, these are your skills to be a project manager. We also have that exam prep course, and then we also have the concentrations. But this also helps segue into the next question I have here, which it asks, do I need a passing score to earn my certificate at the end of the program?
Yes, you do. You have to get 70% on average 70%. You don't have to get 70 on every single one, but average 70 on all the assignments. There's 600 points. You have to average 70 on all the exams. So two different components. You could get, if you average 75% on exams, but 65 on assignments, that's a no-go. pretty unlikely, because you know, so, but yes, to answer your question, 70% is what our bar is for certificate of completion.
Right, right. And I just want to ask, I have a personal question. This is the last one for me. The portfolio, can you speak a little bit about the portfolio again? Maybe we kind of brushed on that, but why do we get a portfolio at the end of the program?
Right. One of the advantages is you may remember having worked on the different components, but at the end of the project management certificate program, what you want to have is a series of documents that lay out. Here's my project scope. Here are my stakeholders. Here's my WBS. Here's my RACI chart. Here's my risk register. Here's how we manage communication plan. It's everything that demonstrates I know how to execute a project start to finish, every aspect of a project. So that's the advantage of the portfolio. And then it's up to the student, but some students then take and put their resume, with it, and they update the resume that says project management certificate 2021. But we have you assemble it, and there's a tool we have that helps you, but you end up with one document that has all of those as attachments. That's a great takeaway if you want to leave it with an employer after interview that says, if there's anything that you do, and one of the things that happens is, as I know when I started where I'm at today, our project management processes weren't good. And if a student would have, if somebody would have interviewed and said, here's my knowledge of project management, I said, oh, we need someone to develop our risk register processes, or we don't do a good job at WBSs. That's one of the things that you leave as a takeaway with employers that demonstrates I can and have done all these components.
Perfect. Yeah, and it looks like we do have at least one more question regarding the course. Let me see here. If I have a certificate from a previous version of the PMBOK, but have not taken the PMP exam, would it be more beneficial to repeat the course versus the prep in order to take the PMP exam?
I would take the exam prep specific course. That's what I would recommend is, the skills and the things you learned when you took the certificate program previously. Those are, you can go back and look at what you did from your assignments. But what you're looking for now is, very specifically focused. If you want to take the PMP exam, take the PMP exam prep course. That would be my recommendation.
So then are there any requirements or pre-requirements to take the prep exam course or maybe the concentration courses?
The concentrate that one I don't know, Teddy. What other prereqs for the PMP? I don't know that there are, but maybe someone else could give you some more background on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's something if we don't have a direct answer, like I said, we can follow up with that question later on as well. They are available for registration. Most individuals are able to register on their own. If there's any complications, I mean, the website is pretty upfront. It tells you exactly what you need. If it doesn't let you register, usually you need permission or to verify that you're eligible. Otherwise, most of our courses are, again, we try to make it flexible and available for whoever and whenever. So they are typically available for registration on the website. Now I'm gonna pan back over to our Q&A slide that's been up here. And again, Dr. O'Brien, thank you so much for answering all those questions. Again, I think it gives a good bit of insight on the course. And I just want to remind everybody that there's, of course, other questions. We may not have gotten to everybody's question, but you can speak with either myself or my team. Samuel Christoph, he's the man you want to speak to as well. He's my associate. He's the enrollment advisor for this program. So he's kind of the specialist. He could speak with you if you have additional questions. His phone number up here is 305-284-8347. And his email is sxc2194 at miami.edu. Right, Samuel Christoph. And once you're in the course, your best friend is going to be part of the course. Her name is Tori Anderson. If you have more technical questions, administrative questions, she's kind of that person. Her name is, again, Tori Anderson, program manager. Of course, if you need to reach out beforehand, she's always there to help. TEA31 at miami.edu. Phone number is 305-284-4881. Now, thank you again, everybody that's been here, that's been staying here. Now, I know a lot of you have stayed through the end, and we do want to thank you for being here. And just as a reminder, there is a 10% tuition fee waiver available for those that did attend. So what that means is when you're ready to join the course, basically give us a call or email our staff or however you can get in contact with us. That way we can go ahead and apply that discount for you. It is a bit of a manual process, so you do have to reach out to our staff when you're ready, or again, if you just have questions, right? And I'm gonna give you that phone number from the beginning again. This is our main line number, and that's 305-284-4000. So 305-284-4000. Or you could just email our main inbox, which is opa@miami.edu. That stands for Office of Professional Advancement at miami.edu. And you can speak with any one of our staff. Of course, those of you that are tech savvy and ready to join right off the bat, you can just go to the website continue.miami.edu/PMP. You can just, it's very simple to join, guys. All you do is create an account. Once you have your account created, you add the course to your shopping cart, you make your payment method whenever you're ready. That payment is what secures your seat. And then just the last little bit, there will be a survey at the end of this presentation. I believe we will send that out to you. So keep an eye out for that if you guys don't mind. We'd love to hear some feedback and your thoughts. Those of you that we may not have answered any questions, we will get back to, we will follow up. And again, my name is Teddy. I'll share my information. Again, my name is Teddy. I'm an advisor with the University of Miami Project Management Program. Phone number is 305-284-3049. Right. And my email is txb426@miami.edu. You guys have tons of information, and I hope you found this enjoyable. I hope you found it informational. And as I mentioned before, you will all get a copy of this presentation a little bit later. Again, any quick questions, feel free to throw them in the Q&A section. But as far as this information session, I just wanted to thank everybody again. Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody that's been here. And we hope to hear from everybody soon.